Many people do not know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to speak my own truth. And the Senate President is allowed to counter that. It all started on the 8th of December, 2023, which was a day before his birthday and my birthday. We are birthday mates. We were all in Akwa Ibom because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends, we went to Akwa Ibom. And at first, we were at Ikot Ekpene. We were in his house in Ikot Ekpene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m. And he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just 3 of us. We're walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that, this designer here, he bought this from us. Like, oh, it's beautiful. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room and he said, "Do you like my house?" I said, "Of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste." He said, "Now that you're a senator, I'm going to create a time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it." At that point, I just pulled away and I was like, I don't really understand what exactly that meant. But then my husband now, when I turned around, I saw my husband was already near me. And the way my husband looked at me and looked at him, I was beginning to wonder, did he hear part of that inciting statements or not? And then the Senate President too, I saw that he also had that thought, like, did my husband hear the invitation to treat or not? So then the Senate President now said, "Oh, by the way, let me show you my chapel." He has a chapel in his house as well. So while we were going to the chapel, you know, we walked in silence and all. So that evening, before we left the Senate President's house at about 11 midnight to the 4 points in Ikot Ekpene. And my husband asked me, "Natasha, what did the Senate President whisper to you? What's he telling you?" I thought, should I tell him that he was speaking about bringing me in here at a special time for us to have a good time? Or should I just kill it there, wrap it as if there was nothing? Because tomorrow was a big day. I know how much my husband adores the Senate President. He loves him as a brother. My husband would do anything to support him. So I told my husband, nothing. I can't remember what I created, but I just gave him some words to manage, to mask what was said. When we laid in bed, I lay to my right and my husband wrapped his arms around me and he said, "My love, you know you can't tell me anything. What did the Senate President tell you?" Again, I was like, "Don't you believe me?" I said, "Nothing, nothing. Moreover, it's my birthday in a few minutes. Let's just be happy." Then my husband told me he doesn't want to see me travel out of the country alone and I should not go to the Senate President's house because he has a guest house where many senators do go there, you know, after office to like get approvals and all that. In February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of corrupt practice in Ajakuta Steel Company. I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper that was approved. Many senators can testify to that. Each time the motion is listed, just before he takes it, he will say, "Oh, Senator Natasha, we can't take this motion because the board of the Senate does not accommodate it." Or he will speak on others and then let it drag so that just before my motion is taken, the time will be well spent and won't. So he kept on doing that. I went to him in his office. And I said, "Senate President, you know how important this Ajakuta Steel Company to me is. You know how important it is to my people and to Nigerians. I've noticed that you have stepped down this motion. As a matter of fact, a number of senators told me, go and see him and plead with him so that he would take it." I was like, "Sir, please, why can't you take this motion? It's very important. It's been listed." Then it was listed a 3rd time and stepped down. He then said, "Natasha, I'm the chief presiding officer of the Senate. You can enjoy a whole lot if you take care of me, make me happy." At that point, I said, "Sir, I'll pretend that I didn't hear this." He said, "Well, the ball is in your court." I left his office, and when I got home, I told my husband, I didn't tell my husband what happened. I just told my husband, "Please, can you speak to the Senate President to allow my motion scale through? I think I also spoke to the DSP, to the leader, Senator Payme. I spoke to a number of senators that they should please intervene and allow him to laugh. I never told them what happened. My husband had to take a trip to London. Then the Senate President traveled to London. My husband met with the Senate President in London and pleaded with him, let my wife take this motion on Ajakuta. That is very important to her.
Okay. All right, Senator Natasha.
He said, okay, that he did not take it because he was protecting me. Hold on, please. He didn't take it because he was protecting me. Protecting me from what? Anyway, at the time my demotion was taken, it was the Deputy Senate President, His Excellency Barao, that actually sat. The Senate President stood up and walked out. So it was Senator Barao that actually took it.
I hope you all know what is happening here. I hope you all know the gravity of what Natasha Akpoti is saying. Natasha Akpoti is accusing the Senate President of sexual harassment. From what she said so far, she said the reason why the Senate President has been intimidating her on the floor of the National Assembly is because she refused his sexual advances towards her. Natasha Akpoti is a married woman. The Senate President is a married man. And both of them, they are occupying an exotic position. Like, this is what it's going to be like. The whole world is going to be seeing Nigeria as a country that is not serious, where you have the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria being accused of sexual harassment. I won't say whether she's lying or not. My own is to analyze the situation. I remember vividly when Natasha Akpoti put a call across to the ordinary president, to the Brekete radio family. She traced back her issue with the Senate President as far back as when the Senate President made a derogatory remark against her. Natasha Akpoti wanted to contribute on the floor of the National Assembly, and it was not her turn to speak. The Senate President denied her the opportunity to speak and told her that this is not a nightclub. That was a derogatory comment against Natasha Akpoti, where Godswill Akpabio received several sticks from Nigerians. They accuse him of making sexual slur against the Kogi State Senator. That did not even stop there. It escalated to the point that Godswill Akpabio was being accused of having extramarital affair with somebody else, and the news went viral. He came on the floor of the National Assembly and said that his phone has been bugged with calls and messages from Nigerians about his extramarital affairs. He went further to apologize to Natasha Akpoti over his derogatory remark. That was last year. And then the incident that happened recently when Natasha Akpoti's seat was reassigned and she refused to stay where Godswill Akpabio reassigned her and decided to stay in her initial place. Godswill Akpabio refused to give her audience. That was what led to the outburst. After that incident, Godswill Akpabio Media 8 went on Facebook to make a remark against Senator Natasha Akpoti. She said that the senator does not know anything about legislative procedure, that all she cares about is her appearance and wearing transparent dresses on the floor of the National Assembly. That is a sexual harassment. That is a sexual slur. And the age that made that comment is a woman. Natasha Akpoti sued Godswill Akpabio for 100 billion naira. And now she is coming up to tell Nigerians the reason why Godswill Akpabio has been on her neck, because she refused his sexual advances. This is an allegation. He who alleged must prove. Natasha Akpoti have to prove to the court or wherever she is being called to that Godswill Akpabio actually made sexual advances towards her. But at the moment, the optics is not really good for Godswill Akpabio, for Nigeria, for the Senate. If we are in a saner climate, I keep making use of this word, if we are in a saner climate, Godswill Akpabio should have tendered his resignation based on this allegation. It's been a long time coming. It's not only Natasha Akpoti that Godswill Akpabio has gotten under their skin. You have Senator Iriti Kingibe. Godswill Akpabio has gotten under the skin of Senator Iriti Kingibe on the floor of the National Assembly. I don't know what his problem is. Godswill Akpabio has had so many baggages ever since he became the Senate President, from being an incompetent Senate President, for not being loyal to the people of Nigeria, openly showing obeisance to the President. Godswill Akpabio has openly pledged his loyalty to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The loyalty of Godswill Akpabio is to the people of Nigeria, not to the Executive President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Godswill Akpabio has led the National Assembly as his personal property. On several fronts, we have seen other senators call him out for taking them as slaves. Godswill Akpabio has done everything possible to destroy the voice of dissent on the floor of the National Assembly. Bills are no longer debated, policies are no longer debated. All they care about is to pass whatever bill that the president sends to the floor of the National Assembly. This is the same National Assembly that overlooked the president to initiate a 15 trillion naira Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. And this is the same National Assembly that allowed the president to go and demolish a $200 million investment in Lagos. I am talking about the landmark beach. Today, the Coastal Road Project initial plan has been redesigned because according to them, they cannot fund that project anymore. If they have to go through that route, they will need to demolish more properties and they will need to pay more compensation. Therefore, they demolish Landmark Beach in vain. They destroy a $200 million investment in a country, in an economy that is crumbling. What the executive did is economic sabotage. It is the duty of the National Assembly to run checks and balance on the executive. If our National Assembly is functioning very well, if Godswill Akpabio is vibrant, they would have debated on the need to demolish Landmark Beach. I am sure the voice of reasoning would have prevailed if the National Assembly had debated on that issue. They would have carried out an impact assessment on that project to determine if that project truly needs to go through that route, to determine if Landmark Beach needs to be demolished. They overlook it, and a $200 million investment was demolished. It is the same Godswill Akpabio-led National Assembly that overlooked, and the president went to buy a $150 million presidential jet for himself in a crumbling economy, in an economy that APC, the president, has destroyed. They did not debate about it. They did not put Nigerians first. They put the president first. It is the same Godswill Akpabio-led National Assembly that passed into law the minimum wage, but to date, the minimum wage which was signed into law by the president is yet to be effected in the salary of Nigerians, and Godswill Akpabio-led National Assembly is going about their normal businesses as if nothing concerns them. Nigerians are going through the most excruciating pain in the history of this country. The price of goods has skyrocketed, there is high inflation, the purchasing power of the people has been greatly reduced. Yet, the Godswill Akpabio-led National Assembly is yet to invite the president to the floor of the National Assembly to come and explain to Nigerians what exactly is he doing for the past 2 years. Of course, the National Assembly has the right to invite the president to come and give account of his stewardship to Nigerians. Take a look at the removal of fuel subsidy, for instance. It was supposed to be a transparent process. The president ought to have told Nigerians how much have been recovered so far from the removal of subsidy, how much they have saved so far, or what the money that have been recovered has been used for. Where exactly have they invested that money? Nigerians deserve to know the truth. This is what is called accountability. But the government is not accountable. The government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing whatever they want to do with reckless abandon, no punitive measures, no restraint, because they believe that they own the National Assembly. They believe that the National Assembly has been captured, and this is made possible by Godswill Akpabio. This is the reason why I said he has it coming, because he has decided to turn his back on average Nigerians. He has decided not to speak and defend the people that voted him into power. Maybe he is only interested in massaging the ego of the president so that the president can find him worthy as his anointed successor. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.